by way of update on our new acquisition here. Still very much enjoying it. Hit a couple little minor issues. One, we knew this from the start. This key was really super wobbly and, just seemed like it was going to fall apart at any moment. Well, today was the day, so it fell apart, and the mechanism that holds that in there was a very silly little pin system. So I used some of the really high grade JB Weld plastic bonder, epoxy welder, and got that filled in. So now it's good and solid. Gonna continue to let that clear up there. And so just working through the systems, earlier we had a no start simply because my wife left the lights on, which drained the battery, so we had to jump it and get it home. But I got the battery on the charger now, cleaning out the battery compartment as well. Something when you're going through a new vehicle, look at the battery cables. So this one, for example, only had maybe a 1/4 inch of actual wire in the coupler there. Otherwise it was about a 1/2 inch or more out. So I loosened this up, greased it all down, and got it good and jammed in there, so that'll be a much better connection. Another thing that we noticed is this has got a really odd head on it, and it just, when we were trying to jump it, it was having issues because it just wasn't wanting to bind all the way. And even tighten down, you could just get it off with your finger. So I'm going to have to, I hit it with some PB Blaster to loosen up the connections, to see if I can get it tightened down better when I get the battery back in there. And gone ahead and done an oil change. The oil in this was toxic gummy black, so it definitely was in need of an oil change. And nice thing about a high vehicle like this is you don't have to jack anything up to work on it. There's lots of room up under here. So here's the filter that I pulled off, and there you can see the filter. This was an incredibly easy oil change. Some oil changes are more difficult than others. Our Audi, for example, is really quite annoying to do, and it's, there are worse even out there. So this is your drain plug right there, the very back of the oil pan. You can see the slope of the oil pan is designed so all the oil will drain to the back of it. Because the oil was so black and scummy looking, I went ahead and while I had the plug out, I put some Marvel Mystery oil up in the fill area and let it run through the engine, kind of like a gentle washing. And once it started coming through, it's basically the color of transmission fluid. It's a really great stuff. I use it both in the gas and a little bit in the oil, and this particularly for something like this where I was just flushing it through the system, and I kept flushing. Probably I used about a 1/2 quart to flush it, and just waited until the fluids came out nice and clear red, no more black, and then buttoned it up and about to refill it here. Using 5W30 because we're in the fall season going into the winter months. You use thinner oil in colder weather, thicker oil in hotter weather. And so this has a range of 5W30, 5W40, or 10W40. So any of those are acceptable depending on your range. So if you're in a hot area, like southern Florida or something, 10W40. But very easy oil change. This is one of those that I really recommend just doing it yourself. You'll save some significant money, particularly if you're considering going to a dealer. Forums are clear about what the dealers do to you. But very easy, and then your fill spout is right there. I'm going to double check this, but I believe it takes just under 7 quarts, like 6.8 quarts. But I'm going to double check that before I refill it. But otherwise, very easy procedure, and other than our little hiccups here, really enjoying this vehicle quite a lot.